This is one of the most important automations you can have for your business. By the end of this video, you'll have a system that generates business proposals for your clients by the time you get off your call. This will help you close clients faster, charge higher prices, and book more projects. So now all that's left to do is for us just to click run once. We're going to set all our data. ChatGPT is going to go ahead and generate the information for our proposal. The Google Docs module is going to go ahead and create a copy of that template. And you can see here that now we have a brand new document all ready to go for us. And if we just come in here and copy the web view link, come in here, paste this in, now you can see we have a new template all ready for us to go. We're going to work with both Make.com and ChatGPT today to determine which questions we need to make sure we ask our clients. We're going to create our proposal template inside of Google Docs with the help from ChatGPT, so that way we can create a repeatable process. We create a little input form inside of Make.com to make sure you answer all of the questions you have for your client, so we can use those in the template. We're going to use AI to help us create a proposal prompt. So that way, all we have to do is take the answers from these questions and turn them into a perfectly crafted business proposal. And then from there, we're going to use Make.com to generate the proposal for you. So you can just attach it to an email, send this to your client, and get you paid. Today, I'm going to kind of show you how I like to work back and forth with ChatGPT to help create a system like this. If you want to get access to the automation that we built today, hop into the school community where I teach business owners and content creators how to scale their business to $5,000 plus a month. You also get access to all of my automation workflows in N8N and Make.com. I'm also in the middle of creating a 6-month course all about personal branding and expert positioning. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get started today. And so the first thing that we need to do here is we need to determine the questions that we want to make sure we ask our client. Some things we want to make sure that we ask our client is like, what problem are they trying to solve? Or what is their budget? Or what is their timeline? Things like that. So let's use ChatGPT to help us come up with some of these questions. So we can come in, we can say something like, I'm creating a business proposal template. I need to make sure I ask my client, let's say 5 questions to help determine which information I put in the proposal. Things like, what problem are you trying to solve? What's your budget and timeline? What industry are you in? And I think this one's actually really, really important is, what is the expected impact on your business? So this means basically like by automating whatever it is they're trying to automate, like, is it going to save them time? Is it going to save them money? We can say like, oh, we think this is going to save them 20 hours a week. Well, if it's going to save them 20 hours a week at $50 an hour, now we're talking about $1,000 a week that we're saving them. So then we can start to begin to price our system accordingly. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this off and let's see kind of what ChatGPT comes up with. So what specific problem or challenge are you trying to solve with this project? What is your ideal timeline for starting and completing the project? What budget have you allocated? What industry or business do you operate in? What measurable impact or outcome do you expect this project to have on your business? This one is key, again, for determining pricing. So let's just stick with these 5 basic questions for now. So the next thing I want to do is I just want to hop into Make.com and kind of start building out the little form for us. We're going to keep this super, super simple. I'm just going to go ahead into here and do set multiple variables. So we can kind of create a variable for each one of those questions. Now, you could do this again with Google Forms or Typeform or anywhere else that you have a form. I think just for today, it's really easy for us to go ahead and do this inside of Make.com with the set variables module. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to copy each one of these questions into the variable name. What specific problem or challenge are you trying to solve? What is your ideal timeline for this project? What budget have you allocated or are you considering? What industry or business vertical do you operate in? And what measurable impact or outcome do you think this is going to have on your business? So great. This is super helpful. Cool. We're already well on our way. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click save. So now you can see we've already determined the questions for the client that we're going to have. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to create our proposal template inside of Google Docs. So we're actually going to create a template that has a bunch of placeholders for us. So basically the automation system can go ahead and fill in the variables with whatever information you get from your client. So this will be dynamic and will change for every single client that you have. So again, we're creating an automation system that you can use over and over again to impress your clients. So some things I think we want to make sure we consider here. We want to make sure we answer all the questions, right? We want to define an automation system to solve their problem. We want to make sure you validate yourself, which is basically like give yourself credibility. Why should they hire you? And we want to make sure we set a price and a timeline. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to come back into ChatGPT and I'm going to say, now I need to create a business proposal template. The template needs to make sure it does a few things. I'm just going to say, answer all the questions, define an automation system to solve their problem, validate yourself, set a price and timeline. And I'm going to also just leave it open-ended for ChatGPT. Is there anything else we should make sure to address? You're going to see this is going to fill in all of the answers for us. And then after this, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have placeholders for all those variables. Cool. So here's a couple things that ChatGPT suggested. I think we can use some of these. I don't think we need all of these. So we want to clarify the deliverables and scope, explain the client's ROI or expected gain. So I definitely want to make sure we do this. Let's include, and I'm just going to still go ahead and start making a list, right? Outline what you'll need from the client to proceed. Definitely important. I think it's great to set expectations ahead of time so that they know you can't just go off in a silo and get to work. Like you're actually going to need some input from them. Include a brief project roadmap or milestones, add additional upsells or future phases. I think this is great. Define post-delivery support, include expiration dates. So here are some things that you could consider. I don't think we're going to need that for today, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say these. Okay, so here, let's now include all of these and I'm going to say, this is great. So this is great. Please create a template proposal for me. Include placeholders for the necessary items in the format. And I know for a fact that Google will recognize this format and we'll just say placeholder name and we'll just go like this. So the double brackets. And so basically what we're going to end up doing is Google Docs is actually going to look for these kind of, these double bracket things. And it's actually going to allow us just to replace those with our content. So we're going to use ChatGPT to basically create these placeholders for us. So we can say business proposal. Here's the client name, date, prepared by. The client is seeking to address the following core problem. The proposal outlines an automation system design. Here are the objectives. Here are the proposed automation system. Here's the expected ROI. So looking at this now, this has way too many placeholders in it. And so anytime you're working with automations, you're working with AI, there's always going to be problem solving and troubleshooting. So understanding how to have a back and forth with your tools is going to be one of the most valuable skills you can learn. So I'm just going to say this is too long. It's also impersonal. Like it feels like really kind of like robotic, right? Make it more casual and friendly while still being professional. This also has way too many placeholders and should only include placeholders for our questions. Hey, client name, thanks for sharing what you're working on. Based on what you've told me, here's the problem you're solving. Great. Here's the timeline you're aiming for, the budget, the industry, the impact you're hoping for. So here's the game plan. What I'll create a custom automation system that solves the problem directly. It'll handle brief summary of the solution and plug into your current setup without a bunch of extra tools or complexity. What you'll get, a working system that saves you time and money, a clear setup your team can use, fast turnaround, what I'll need from you, what it'll cost. And here's some extra ideas. I love this section in a proposal to upsell the client immediately just to set the precedent that you want to establish a long-term working relationship with them. Maybe you'll do like a maintenance fee. Maybe you'll try to sell them on a monthly retainer just to, again, get them thinking about how else they can work together with you and that way making you more money. Cool. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to copy this and I have a blank Google document here and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to paste all of that into the Google document. Cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to call this. Great. Hey, client name. Let's do that. That's fine. So now what we can do is we can actually come into make.com and we can start building out this automation using AI to help us fill in some of these blanks. One other variable I'm also going to add in here is I'm just going to add an about me section. So I'm going to come back in here and I need a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to generate some fake answers to these questions up here. Can you generate some fake answers to these questions? I'm just going to go ahead and paste those questions in. So now you can see this is creating just kind of like an example client for us to work with. We're spending too much time manually onboarding new clients and slowing down our sales process. We need to automate the workflow from initial inquiry to signed contract. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to come back into Make. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste this here. And so now you can see next time you're on a call with your client, you should be taking notes as you go. And so you can just come into Make, you can have this automation open and you can start typing into these little variables while you're in the conversation with them. So here, ideally, we'd like to get started in the next 2 weeks and have something functional by the end of the month. That's super helpful to know. Great. Here's the timeline. We're budgeting around $5,000 to $7,000 for this, depending on complexity and long-term flexibility. This is great. I'm just going to go ahead and paste these in. We're in the digital marketing space, focused on running paid ads for e-commerce brands. What measurable impact? We want to cut onboarding times by at least 50%, reduce errors, and free up our team, et cetera, et cetera. Great. So about me. And you can just go ahead and you would fill out this section for yourself. And why don't we just have ChatGPT also fill out a fake about me section for my automation agency. So this way we can have just ChatGPT create some information for us. We're a lean automation agency that helps small teams, solopreneurs, save time. We've worked with creators, agencies, and service businesses. And one thing in here that you want to make sure that you include is include tangible impact metrics, right? So here, this is like really nice. You can say, oh, we've worked with all these people. Like, that's super great. But like, clients want to know, like, are you actually going to save me time? Are you actually going to make me money, right? So this type of stuff, right? Save clients over 3,000 hours, reduce leads response times by 85%, recovered 120K in missed revenue. So clients like love that type of information. So when you're starting to think about how you write about yourself, start thinking about it in terms that your clients will actually appreciate. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to paste in this about me section. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Why don't we just call this business proposal generator? It's always good to name your projects. And I'm just going to go this and I'm going to call this set data. Great. So now what we can do is I need a prompt for an AI agent. Its task is to take the answers to the incoming questions and the about me section and fill in the relevant placeholders in the proposal template. And we're also going to need to tell it that it's going to need to output in a specific format. It's going to need to output each placeholder as a separate JSON item. Let's just go ahead and see that, and let's see how this comes out. You're an AI assistant trained to generate a customized business proposal based on client-provided information. Your task is to take the client's answers to the following 5 questions, which we'll have here. The About Us section provided by the automation agency, and output a completed set of proposal placeholders in JSON format. So cool. So each item should be a key value pair, et cetera, et cetera. And here we go. Client name, blah, 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 blah. So these are all the fields that we're going to want to fill in our template. And I'm just going to have it say for the JSON, can you actually create your example in the proper JSON format? So this way we could actually tell ChatGPT exactly. So it should actually look like this, right? And I'm just going to say leave empty values because I don't want ChatGPT to actually think that these are examples because I want to actually create all of the answers for us. So great. This is really helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. Now I'm going to come into make.com. And what we're going to do is now I can hook up ChatGPT. So I can come into OpenAI. If you don't see it here, I'm just going to go to OpenAI. And I'm going to go more, and I'm going to create a completion. The model, I will choose GPT-4o because I think it'll be helpful because we're creating something kind of robust. And I'm going to add 2 messages here. I'm going to add a user message, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm also going to add a system message. For the system message, I'm going to paste in what we just got out of ChatGPT. And I need to come in, and I need to actually grab this JSON format here. So I can actually remove this here and paste in our expected format. And one other thing we need to do is we want to come into advanced settings. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to change the response format from text to JSON object. I'm going to make sure I check parse JSON. This way we can get a nice clean output that we can easily insert into our Google Doc. The only other thing I need to do here is I need to basically set all of the variables for us, right? So I can say problems. I can go ahead and click this. I can say timeline. Click the timeline. Go ahead and say budget, set the budget, go ahead and say industry, set the industry, and we'll say measurable impact. And then I remember the prompt said about us, so I'll just go ahead and change this to about us instead of about me, and we will pipe that in. Cool, so we should be good to go here. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to do a test and run this once and kind of see what the output looks like. Cool. So if I come in here and I come to the output and I come into the response, say client name. So again, we didn't leave a field for the client name. Good to remember, right? Client problem. Here's the client timeline. Here's the budget. And now it's basically have all of these fields that's kind of created for us. Cool. So one other thing I'm going to come in here that's probably important is we're just going to go client name. And I always like to do Brandon Johnson. Great. And we can actually just go ahead and we can drag this up to the top. So this becomes the first item. And then one thing we need to do is we need to come into ChatGPT and we just need to say client name so that it has access to the new data that we sent. Cool. Go ahead and click save. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do Google Docs. And I'm going to go ahead here. And this one's really cool because I can do create a document from a template. So if you read this here, it says creates a copy of an existing template document and replaces any tags with, you can see this curly bracket format, which is really, really helpful. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab this. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to see what happens if I type hey, because that's the name of our file. Great. Super helpful. And you can see here now we have all of these fields because we created our template in a way that basically, again, has those double brackets. That's really, really helpful for us. So super cool. So I'm going to come in here, can pipe in the client name, can pipe in the problem statement, can pipe in the timeline, can pipe in the budget. I'm just going to go down the list and do this for industry, expected impact, brief summary of solution, access required, the price, and then our optional upsells. And your name or brand, I can come in here and just pipe that in here. Cool. We don't have any images, which is fine. We can do the title. We can say client name, and we could say, proposal or something like that. Great. And now it's just basically setting down here. I'm not sure if you can see this. Maybe my face is in the way. Let me scoot this over. Come down here, and this is basically where you're choosing to save, the new doc that's getting created. So I'll just come in here and I'll save this in the build room. So now all that's left to do is for us just to quick run once. We're going to set all our data. ChatGPT is going to go ahead and generate the information for our proposal. The Google Docs module is going to go ahead and create a copy of that template. And you can see here that now we have a brand new document all ready to go for us. And if we just come in here and copy the web view link, come in here, paste this in, now you can see we have a new template all ready for us to go. Hey, Brandon Johnson, thanks for sharing what you're working on. Based on what you told me, we're spending too much time manually onboarding new clients and it's slowing down our sales process. Here's all the information from it. Here's the game plan, what I'll build, what you'll get, what I'll need from you, what it's going to cost. Any extra ideas, you could also add advanced analytics and reporting, integration of AI-assisted client communication. So again, you can go ahead and fill in these details if you want. If you want to change the formatting around of this Google Doc, you can just come back in your template and start changing that. Again, the formatting is really up to you. I just wanted you to understand how you could use ChatGPT and Make.com to create a really simple business proposal for your clients so you can start making more money today. The faster you get these proposals to your clients, the more impressed they're going to be, the more likely you are to close the sale and the more money that you're going to make. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out this video up top where I show you how to automate your entire LinkedIn profile. I'll see you over there.